for those of you that haven't watched my other videos yet, this box here, this is the Absolute Station. It's a blue edition. Not that makes any difference, it's just the colour of the paint. And they're about, I think they came out about 8 years ago, 7 years ago, something like that, these models. I've just managed to pick one of these up. And so it is replacing my nearly 20-year-old on box. So that's where we are. I used my new Absolute Station yesterday in a match at Acorn, which is either on the channel now already or will be on very shortly, because we're making these videos at about the same time. Everything was fine. A few little things I need to tweak. I wasn't happy with where I'd put the things in the drawers, but I knew I'd have to sort of work that out as I went and where I wanted stuff so I can move them around. That's not a big deal. This adapter just here, this one, I'd left him on the, that's for my rig roost. I'd left him on my old box, so I struggled for the day without that. What I've found with the new box is that I can leave these two attachments on all the time because they sort of fit, because the box is a little bit wider. I can actually put them in the middle like that, and it doesn't take up any more room, so that's meant that I've got a little bit more space in the box, because I used to keep those in the big unit underneath. And there is a big unit in the middle of this box, just underneath the cover. Now, the biggest issue that I had with it yesterday was that the height between this seat here and the platform here is too much for me, and so my knees were lower than my hips, which means that when you're trapping your pole against your thigh, the pole's pointing down towards the water. So when you're fishing long, your pole tip, your pole tip's in the water, and the only way to keep it out of the water is to go onto your tiptoes and bring your knees up, and then you've on your tiptoes for 5 hours, and that's not good. It's not good for your back. It's not, hurts your calves after a few hours. And so what I've got to do, see, this is the major downside I feel with these style of boxes. These style of boxes, which are very, very popular now, I mean, this is a far superior box to this, don't get me wrong. Just sitting on it, it's much more comfortable, it's much more stable. Everything seems to be better built, although it is, 10 years younger. And even though this is 8 years old, it feels like everything's still pretty solid on it. You will have, if you go back on my channel, you'll see a video of when I bought this and I stripped it all down, put it back together again, just as a process of getting it tidy for me, and so that I can have a look at every single component, make sure it's all right. So you can have a look at that video if you haven't already seen it. That is definitely already on the channel. Right, so sidetrack slightly there. So the difference is on these what we call H-frame boxes, which is this style, which is still available today. You can still buy H-frame boxes. There's plenty of them on the market, and generally they are cheaper. But you can adjust the height of this platform relative to that seat quite easily, because it attaches here. So you just literally loosen that, lift it up or down to where you want. Sorry, a little bit out of shot there. You can lift that up or down to where you want, and then adjust your legs at the front to compensate, and it's always right for you. And once you've got it set, it's set, and it gives you infinite adjustability. With this, in order to change the height, you've got under there are stacker systems, and you'll see them in a second. So I'm going to take them up and put them on my workbench, and you're going to go in the shed and we're going to have a look at them. But what I'm finding is those two units there are slightly less height, they're a bit thinner in height wise than the big unit that sits in the middle of here. And so I'm going to switch them around, and I'm hoping that's going to solve my problem without ranting on too much. So in a second we'll be in the shed and I'll show you what I mean, but I just thought I'd show you why we're doing this, and this is something to consider when you're buying a box. Right then, we're in the average English shed, everyone, and I've just put the two units on the table to quickly show you. This part here, it's obviously the seat, side drawer, and then there's a large compartment. It's like an open store, that's just totally open inside. It's storage for big items. And underneath there goes your drawer, which you can't remove because it's bolted. Well, you can, but it's bolted to the frame. So we've taken it off there. That's the first point we can take it off. I don't want to put my drawers underneath my box because I want them, at the bottom of my box. I want these at the top where I can get to them. So to my mind, the best thing to put at the bottom is this, which is quite handy because at the bottom of the box at the moment, when I say at the bottom of the box, I mean underneath where the foot plate goes, that sort of level down by your feet. I've got this, so you can see there, that's the slider, which connects to the bottom. And I need to take that off, fit it onto here, and then swap them around. So if I bring the camera down to here, you can see that we're losing maybe a couple of inches because we've got this little bit here as well from the bottom to the top, because the slider holds it off the bottom. So you've got that 3/4 of an inch, and then there maybe 1 1/4 inches, so maybe 2 inches. Hopefully there's enough light there if you can see that. That's what we're going to try and do. So I'm going to put you in the stand so you can see what I'm doing, because as usual it's going to be a little bit different, because on these boxes you've got these clips and everything's held in place with these clips, but I'm 2 clips short of what I need in total. But I'll show you how I get around that. Now 2 clips will cost you 8 quid, 7 or 8 quid on the eBay if you want to shop about for them, and I may go and get some at some point, but obviously that means I've got to wait 2 or 3 days delivery. I'm impatient and I don't want to wait. I want to use the opportunity I've got to do this and get it done and get it right, and that might be the situation you find yourself in. These are not the maglock ones. The maglock ones are the latest version. These are just the standard, no magnets involved. Okay, my box is an older generation, remember, so if you've got a maglock box it could be different, because I haven't actually ever played around with one of those, so just be aware of that. Right everyone, first thing that you're going to have to do is take this runner off there. Now it's important to note that the runners, I'm hoping you can see this on the camera, I'll tap the screen a little bit, see if it focuses better. The runners are on these clips here, but you can't move the clip because the way that it's designed is you can't clip it off. It's sort of a permanent fix and a semi-permanent fix. So what you've got to do is take the clip apart to get it off. So I showed you on a previous video, but in case you haven't watched that one, in there, see the shiny bit? That's a little tiny screw. You can use just a normal screwdriver, even though it's tiny. I'm just going to sit that on top of there. Hopefully you can see that. And I'm just going to take that screw out of there. Be very careful not to lose it because it's tiny. Very easy to lose a screw this small. And I'm probably going to lose it live on camera just because I've told everybody about it. It's out, but I'm just being careful that I don't, you know, because I've got a magnetic screwdriver. But yeah, it is small. I'm just going to put it into one of the creases in the cardboard where it can't roll away. Once you've taken that out, the side that you've taken it out from is a little tab, and it will just flick off. Looks like that. This is how you replace these clips. Then that clip will slide out. The other side of the clip will slide off as well, and it's off. And you repeat the process for the other side, and then that will come off. And so when you are fitting that slider back on, you have to take it apart as well, because otherwise it's sort of designed so it won't come off. So you have to do the reverse of this if you want to put it back on using the clips. We're not going to put it back on using the clips, so I'm telling you that now. You're not going to see me do that, but it's basically the reverse of what I've just done. I'll take the other clip off and I'll bring you back. Right, you're back. Got me 2 clips off. Bit wet that one because I have hosed it down the foot plate. I hosed the foot plate down this morning, yesterday when I got back from Acorn, because everything was so muddy. I did just lie to you because I am going to put these clips back on because I'm going to need them when I put them back into the stack. So I'm hoping from there you can see it. So I'm going to show you the reverse process. You get the, now it's worth noting, look, they are right sides and left sides to these, and when you buy them as a pair if you're buying spares. Okay, so you got to make sure you put the arrow shows you the opening direction. So if the arrow's pointing, it's always inwards to, like, towards the middle of the box to open. So if the arrow's pointing towards the middle of the box, that's the part that goes on the inside. I hope that wasn't too confusing what I just said there. I know that was a lot weird, but a little bit of lube still on there from when I lubed it when I was building it for you guys in the last video. And the same with these clips. There's a left and a right of those. You have to make sure you got the right one. It's pretty self-explanatory. You won't go back together if you got the wrong one. These are a bit fiddly, but I find they can be a little bit fiddly, these, sometimes, especially on the old ones like mine and don't want to go back together. Why is that not going back in there? There we are. It does fit. Nothing wrong with it. It's just being temperamental. There we are. And then you just got to put the screw back in. I say, it's just the reverse of what we just did. It's not rocket science. Very handy to have a magnetic screwdriver at this point. If you haven't got a magnetic screwdriver, just put a magnet on the shaft of the screwdriver and it becomes magnetic. A little tip for you. Screwed in, don't over tighten them. They're tiny little screws. You're screwing into plastic. You've got a big chunky screwdriver and plenty of leverage. You could easily over tighten them. They're just trying to hold it in place. All right. So I'm going to do that for the other side. It's the same on the other side. And then we've got this unit back to, actually we've got to put 2 clips on here because you'll see why in a minute. I took 2 clips off here and I attached it in a different way. So I'm going to steal some clips off this base piece, put them on here, but I'm not going to show you that. It's basically exactly what's just happened over again about 4 times. Catch you in 5. Right guys, I got the 4 clips back on this. I haven't got the 4 clips back on this yet, sorry. Still got 2 clips to put on, but I've just realised something. When I take this top piece off, this whole section is a lid, and obviously that's got to go away with this piece because this needs a lid on it, can't just be open. So now I'm actually reducing it by even more, so I'm probably adding another inch. So I'm actually dropping it by about 3 inches, so we'll see if that's going to be too much or not. It might be right, but it might be too much. It might be too low for me now, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But I've only just realised that. So what I said before about this coming down by sort of that much is now going to come down by getting on for 3.5 to 4 inches, I would have thought, which may be significantly maybe too much. I don't know. I'll do it. I'll put the clips on and we'll put it on the box and we'll have a look. Back in a sec. Just thought I'd show you this on camera because there's people that, you know, do worry about these sort of things and they like to have the details. So you can see this is how the 2 things slide together. They kind of fit inside. You see that? It's hard to keep my camera focused. Lost it again. Hang on, let me just right there. That's better. Sorry about that little bit there. So I'm just going to show you this, guys, because some people worry about these sort of things. And this like comes apart. It's got a little tags and bits and bobs on it there. And they slide in to sort of little recesses inside. You see how it's designed? So that if I do it from this angle, you'll see, hopefully, if there's enough light, if I tip it a bit that way, maybe that's better. You'll be able to see them sliding inside each other like that. So it all goes together really nicely. So if you're sort of person that's worried about, you know, doing mechanical jobs or you're not that confident, have a go. It's not difficult. You know, if you're forcing anything, it's not right with these. They're only little tiny bits of plastic. They'll break if you force anything. So just be careful. Just a little tip for those that might be a little bit less confident. Right, we're back. I've taken the other unit off, which is a rig winder tray. I've put it on with the box. I've sat on it. I feel like I might get away with that. So actually it might not be that bad a thing in the end. So what we've got now is the deep tray with all my gubbins in. And then it's obviously got a lid so that it don't get wet. So actually that's a nice thing to keep underneath your box on the sort of slider. Because it's out of the way, and it's the sort of stuff that you probably only get access to at the start of the match. Doesn't seem to all locate properly then. Yeah, so any sort of stuff that you want to get to at the start of the match. There we are. Should probably be a bit more firm with it. So at the start of the match, you can slide that out from under your box. Do that. You get to your stuff. Put it back down. Slide it back under your box. Because all this sort of stuff, look, I keep in here, sort of stuff that. Stuff I'm going to use at the start or the end of my match, or stuff I'm going to get out. So it's little attachments, pole cups, scissors, catapults, you know, rod hold, a feeder rod holder or a float rod holder. These are part of my support, my bump bar or whatever you like to call pole support system. It's all in there, rod rests and bits and bobs. So the sort of things like wagglers, you're going to get them out at the start. or you're going to open it up and put everything away at the end, so you can slide that out, deal with it, put it back and forget about it for the rest of the match, which is what you want. You don't want to be faffing, keep pulling that back and forward just to get rigs out, which is what happened to me yesterday. I was getting my rigs out, I kept having to sort of spread my legs really, really wide so that it was wider than my platform and pull this out. So I feel like this is better. It's going to work better for me. So everything's going to roll around. We've got 2 clips here, like that, but on this side we're missing 2 clips. Now, like I say, you can buy them as a pair, and maybe I will buy them and do it properly eventually, but what if you don't want to buy them, or what if you can't get hold of them, or you're in a rush like me and you've got to fix something today? Well, let me show you. First of all, I'll show you how to take them on and off these, because like I say, what happens with this, I've done all that. I'm hoping that was in shot, guys. I think it is. This sits on the end, and you can see, hopefully there, that's quite a nice fit. And it wants to push up into there, but you can't, it won't go in. It will not go in because this is in the way. You've got to take the end cap off, then slide it in, and then put the end cap back on. So I'll show you. And then it's a nice snug fit. You've got your runner there, and then this U piece here is where your little screw goes in to lock it in place so it doesn't slide out from under your box. And if you look at this end here, it hasn't got the clip on, you'll be able to see that that's how it goes. It like butts up and then the clip just locks in, but like I said, because you're bolting it around it. So I'll show you, because I'm rambling now, I'll show you. Well, what we'll do is we'll connect this end first, and then we'll connect this end, and obviously it's just the repeat process on the other end, so I won't show it you twice. But what I'm going to do is just because these don't come off quickly anyway, in order to take this runner off you need a screwdriver. So you're not, and that little tiny screw and stuff, it's not something you're going to want to do at the side of the bank. So I don't see the point in having like a quick release fitting if I'm not going to use it, because it's not quick release. So I might as well just come up with something that's more permanent or semi-permanent, and I'll show you what I've come up with and been using, and it seems to have worked for me yesterday. So straight in again, take your screw out, take your time, make sure your screwdriver fits nicely, because you don't want to round off that. It'll really easily round off. You'll feel it locate if it's right. And even though this is a big screwdriver, it has got quite a fine point on it. Okay, make sure you've got a fine point on your cross screwdriver or your posi drive or your Phillips or whatever you're using. I'm not sure which one is which. So when you pop that off, should be, I think the last time I popped that off as well, it was easier. Then you can slide, I'm getting confused now, there we are. Slide that into position like that. And then when you put this back in, it locks up. It won't lock up until you put this on. Once you put this back on, exactly the same, but you have to take it all off, because if it doesn't go back far enough, just take my word for it. If you can't see that, you just have to take my word for it. But it is the case. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. You've got to put your screw back in. And this is quite a handy little thing to know, because if you need a clip quickly and you've got yours on the bottom of your box, and you've got one of these old boxes, you think I could do one of these clips, but I've ordered one, it's going to take 5 days to come, and I'm away for the week fishing somewhere and I need it. You could do what we're about to do here, and you could steal one of these clips off and get away with it. I feel like you get away with probably 3. You'd probably get away with 3 clips on most of these, but not this bottom one, because if you're missing a clip, it sort of flaps about like. It's not right. It's not very strong without some sort of support there. So that, you can see, it doesn't move. It won't move. So the only way to get that off, as I've said again, I'm repeating myself, I know, is to take the screw out. So it's not really quick release anymore. So like I said, what's the point in that? Why not come up with another solution? Now what I've come up with, well, probably some people will be a little bit disturbed by this and go, oh, it's a bit rough. but it works. I have a piece of wire. This is galvanised wire that I had lying about. I haven't been out and bought it or anything. I couldn't tell you what gauge it is, anything like that. All I know is it's some galvanised wire, and all I'm done is popped one, cut out a length, decent length. Can you see in? I don't know if you can see into there. See if I can get the camera to lighten up a bit. Maybe if I tip it back a bit like that. There. Oops, that's it's come away. There. And so there's a hole here, which is part of the box, and there's a hole here which is part of the runner. Okay, hopefully you can see that I've just put the wire through both of them. That's galvanised wire, this, so it won't rot. You could use copper. I'd use a bit thicker if it's copper because it's not as strong, but copper won't rot either, so you ain't got to worry about like 6 months time it rots and snaps. And then all I do is twist it a few times and chop off that excess because it'll scratch your box up for a minute. But obviously that's like sloppy. So what you got to do is get your pliers and keep twisting that until it tightens up. I'm trying to do this in such a way that you guys can see it. So it might take me a bit longer than it should. And as you twist it, it gets tighter and tighter and tighter. And we're crazy because you'll damage the plastic if you pull it into the plastic bits too hard. There you are, it's on. So what I can do is I can shorten that a little bit more now because it doesn't need to be quite so long. And then I can get my pliers and I can just push that sharp edge, bend it back in towards the box where it's not gonna hurt anybody. All right, we'll get away with that, and I can do that on the other. I'm going to repeat that on the other end, and that's fine. That will work perfectly fine because once it's lying down, it won't twist. I know it twists a little bit like that now, but it won't twist because it's going to have its weight sitting on it, so it won't twist when it's in position. So it'll be absolutely beautiful. Trust me. So I'm going to do the other end the same, and then I'll go and put it on the box and we'll be done. Well, I'm just doing this other one now, guys, and I'll just like to say that, you know, for the price of 2 of these clips, nearly lost my screw there, but I got away with it. For the price of 2 of these clips, it's not worth risking doing this as like a permanent fix, but it is something you can use, like me today, to get you out of trouble. I could use some of my like thermosetting plasticky stuff and make a little pin that goes right through and it will never move again. Maybe I'll do a video about that. Maybe I won't bother. That's I'm wrong, John. So I just thought while I'm doing this, I'll just chat to you about that. I think for the price, you know, like literally, I've seen these on eBay. You can still get them, and it's like £7 for the pair. So you're getting 2 clips for £7. It's like a no-brainer. And if you've got one of these older boxes, these older Preston boxes that have this system on, but it's not the maglock, not the maglock one, they are still available. So, you know, I've only found this out because I've been looking on eBay and places like that just to see what's about, and they're all genuine stock and that. A lot of these shops on eBay are just tackle shops that have got their own eBay account, so I don't think it's like fake knockoff stuff. Nobody's doing fake knockoff Preston stuff. There's not enough trade in it. So yeah, thanks for tuning in and watching, guys. Keep those subscriptions coming. I'm getting lots of subscribers at the minute and I'm really appreciating that. It's very, very good. I know that this is a bit unorthodox. I'm sort of showing you how to work on some tackle that's 8 years out of date, but all the other YouTubers out there, they can show you how to work on, you know, or they can tell you what it's like to own new stuff. I can do reviews on new stuff, so if I can get my hands on it, but I can't tell you what it's like to own it because I ain't got any at the moment. And there's plenty of people doing that, so there's no point in me making more videos of the same thing. So I actually feel like this is something a bit different. You know, there's a lot of guys out there like me that quite nifty on the tools and want to do things for themselves, and it gives you a sense of satisfaction that you've made something work that shouldn't work. And so I'm going to, you know, I'll do videos like this. So there we are, that's what I do these sort of videos for, and hopefully somebody out there is getting something out of them that they're not getting from other channels. Right, there he is, back all together. So you can see what I mean. This big unit here was halfway up, so now the height between the top of this seat and here is less. I feel like it could be slightly, a little bit too much of a reduction. It feels like it might not be high enough now, but until I go out and fish with it I won't know. So I'm out at Acorn on Tuesday. It's Sunday today, so a couple of days and I'll be out.